And now, the Big D and Bubba Weekly Podcast.
Big D and Bubba, they have a show 5 days a week, but they don't get to say everything that's on their mind, so they have an extra one, and that's how we get the podcast. The podcast. The podcast. Big D and Bubba's podcast. The podcast. The podcast. Big D and Bubba's podcast.
Ah, butter.
That's the new gold.
What'd he say?
All right, butter. He meant to say, all right, buddy or brother, and it ended up coming out, all right, butter.
Ah, butter.
I don't know. It was my favorite thing somebody said all week.
Ah, butter.
Boy, we're easily amused.
Yeah, we are. We really are. That's the beauty of gold. You never know what's going to stick. The podcast is sponsored by our friends at O'Reilly Auto Parts. As we are here in the O'Reilly Auto Parts studio, O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
Ah, butter.
All right, butter.
All right, butter. Butter.
Oh, man.
I had a friend of mine ask me, he doesn't really even listen to the show. He's like, do you guys get a new gold this week? I'm like, how do you know that?
Because the podcast.
I don't know what you...
That's what they were doing. They were listening.
Look at Carson's hair. It's got the little...
I like it.
Isn't that from like Spaceballs or something?
I
little hair things in the back. It looks like little knots.
That's-
yeah,
What
my little horns.
I rock rough and stuff with my afro puffs. Remember that song?
No.
No, Bubba. Nobody
Have you
remembers
seen
that
me?
song.
No, I don't like to wash my hair a lot, and especially I'm waiting on my hairdresser. Had to postpone my appointment, so my hair will do absolutely nothing. So I was like, you know what, y'all are getting this. I went on YouTube.
I like it. The only problem is it's behind your headphones.
Yeah,
So it looks like little kitten ears. Which,
Oh,
by the
I
way,
like it.
Patrick's daughter has some headphones that have little kitten ears on them, and
Kitten ear headphones.
they're pretty cool. Maybe
Yeah.
that's the rage. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe
yeah, I
you're-
actually saw these in a TV show, and that was the inspiration. And
I
so I
like
wanted to see if I could do it, and I went and watched a little YouTube video, and here we are.
I like it. It's very Vikings. You ever see? You never watched Vikings, did you?
didn't.
What are you
No,
doing?
the inspiration was Lucifer.
Oh, is that?
Devil horns. One of the demons wears it on Halloween.
Oh, that's very cool.
It was cute.
Do we have to worry about you?
Really? Real? What?
Ah, butter.
Again, James Vanderbeek and I went through confirmation together, Bubba. I don't know how much more proof you need.
Okay. All right. I've never seen the show. I can't put it in my thing because my mom and dad have my login, and if they saw me watching a show called Lucifer, it would be the end of
Bubba
it.
would be in so much trouble.
You don't have separate profiles?
No. I mean, we do, but they use mine.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Bubba get a call from Shira. It'd be.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, honey.
I mean, how do you
Hey,
explain that to
baby.
your? You can't.
We were watching the Netflix, and
No, she calls it Netflix.
the Netflix, and your father and I saw you. Why are you watching the show about Satan? I don't know.
It's
We
not
need to
just
pray
about
extra
Satan.
hard for you.
It's a show where every time you see the picture for the advertisements on Netflix, it's like this sexy dude. And
Yes.
she would be like, why are
You
you
think
watching
Satan is a sexy dude? Is that what you
That's
think?
exactly what she would probably think.
You think
She
this
would-
is okay? Is this where you want to be when Jesus comes back?
That's what my mom would... Do you know that story? My mom would call me. She'd be like, what are you doing? And I would be with my buds. I'd be like, I'm at Hooters. Is this where you want to be? Or is that where you want to be when Jesus comes back? You don't know
it's
the
the
moment.
best.
You don't know the moment, so don't put yourself in that situation. I'm like, yes, ma'am.
I want props for that recall because
That's-
that is at
that's
least 10
great.
years old.
Ah, butter.
Maybe 15, but I remembered that.
So good.
How is your mom and dad doing? Didn't you see them this weekend?
They are doing really fantastic. You know, it's funny because I think what happens, I'm going to visit them again because I left my son with them for the week, and he's like ready to come home. They're
bored.
Here's the whenever you have retired people, they're just around the two of them, and then especially when my dad's had medical issues, so he's trying not to get around people because he doesn't want to get sick because he's completely on that end, and he and my mom are at each other's throats constantly. So I'm like, I've got to get you out of your house. So I think probably mid to late summer, I'm going to bring them here and just get them out of their routine because they've been stuck together since basically, what was it, last April when everything really kind of, March, April, when everything kind of locked down. The only time my dad ever leaves is to go to the VA hospital or when he had his surgery checkup, and that was it. So they've got to get out of their house, and all they do is bicker. I'm like,
That sounds like me and my wife.
my wife literally
Except
made
with only
me.
a year and a half.
My wife literally made me promise her that we would not end up like that. She's like, we're not going to end up fighting all the time like that, are we? I'm like, no, because it's like they start doing their thing, their argument. And I'm always like, okay, kids, well, I'm going upstairs. I'm gonna whatever. I leave the room. I'm like, if you want me to visit, don't do this. So I just check out.
That's one way. I don't know.
Then they make good by cooking the most amazing food, and then I'm like, okay, I love come and visit.
What your mom make us is the tamale. It's the tamales, right?
No, so
She got a new one.
Okay, here's kind of the thing. The way it works is my parents and my sister live in the same house, but they don't because what happened is somebody had to take care of my dad. So she became the one who said that I'll commit to doing it and whatever. So they have like an apartment below. So it's not the same house, but it's in the same structure. So I'm going to go visit mom and dad this weekend, and then I'm going to go to my sister's for dinner. It's such a weird thing because it's literally you have to just go up the stairs to go to their place. But my sister asked me yesterday what I wanted to eat, and it was the craziest.
That was a laundry list.
Did you see that?
Yes, that was a journey. That was a food journey.
Did you post it or
Oh
something?
yeah, I did.
Yeah, he did.
I will actually, and I said, in case you're wondering why I'm still overweight, here's a text that I just received from my sister. She knows how much I love food. There's a little bit about picking up my son, and a lot about the menu. She writes, "What day are you coming, or are we meeting you? I hear mom and dad downstairs saying Saturday, but Frank told Tim and I Friday night, and I know y'all are going home Saturday. I just wanted to know what to do, what you want to eat." Then she immediately goes, "We have hamburgers tonight, or we can wait if you want that. I can do roast or roast beef po' boys, homemade pizza, stuffed shells, spaghetti, or I can tell mom if you want pork chili."
Goodness gracious.
I mean, who goes through all that trouble?
Man.
That's awesome.
My mom used to do that, but she doesn't cook anymore. She just kind of
She doesn't cook anymore.
My
Why
mom
not?
don't cook ever because between my father, who's decided he likes to cook, and he always did, but he
He's
does it. And then
bored.
my two brothers are like,
Again, your dad is
Yeah.
retired
oh my
now,
gosh,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, he's bored.
But your
He
two
likes to cook.
brothers.
My two older brothers are world class
Yeah.
Cajun cooks.
They win
They've never
contests.
cooked in restaurants or anything like that. They don't have any formal training, but I'd put them up against anybody. And yeah, they go. So like at least twice a week, my brother Barkley cooks. My parents, I'll call and they're like, "What y'all doing?" "Oh, we're going to Barkley's. He's cooking dinner." I'm like, "Of course you are. If I lived that close, that's all I would do. I would never go.
Yeah.
I would never cook if I lived that close to those two.
For sure.
We go on vacation to the beach. We're going in a month, and I'm not gonna.
You'll
my
never
wife
have
said,
to eat
"Do
out
you
or
need to
anything
cook
like
one
that?"
of the meals while we're there?" I'm like, "No, listen, I'm not putting myself up against that. The last thing I need is to cook something and have one of my brothers go, you didn't do that
Does
right."
your family do that to you too, where they see whenever we have like our Thanksgiving get-togethers, it's usually several days. It's not just for Thanksgiving. So usually everybody's family has a night. Like, okay, it'll be my family, then my sister's family, then my other sister's family, then my brother's family, and then mom and dad. Everybody has actually mom and dad are excluded now because they're grandfathered in and grandmothered in.
Get it?
But yeah, so everybody has to pick a night and that family has to provide. And it's the worst for me. That's always pizza night. I order pizza because I'm such a terrible cook. I mean, my wife could do it, but
Yeah.
when you're used to cooking for 4 or 5 people, it's different than when you're cooking for 45 people.
Yeah, that's a
And-
whole no. That's
yeah.
a whole nother.
Yeah, so I'm like,
See,
pizza.
I am so bad at cooking for like 2 people. Even when I'm just cooking at the house for Vivek and I, we end up with, well, first of all, I eat as much as 4 normal people. And then I end up still having leftovers for days because I grew up watching my grandmother cook who had 9 kids and all of them had kids. And, so
Yeah.
everything was in a pot. My brothers have stainless steel pots that are it's massive. Take up 2 burners on the stove with this one Magnolite pot that's 2.5 feet wide. It's just insane. And he can cook anything you want in. Like, anything. Scale is not a problem. It's like, oh well, I can cook a crawfish etouffee. I can do enough for 2 people, or I can do enough for 40 people. And in his mind, it's just
they can do that head math
oh
and
yeah,
figure it out, and
no
it's
problem
perfect.
because he's doing it all by.
Stacy's dad is the same way. He does that. He's like, we'll show up, and he's always got some crazy thing. What do you have on the grill? He's always grilling. He's always grilling, and he's got a beer when we show up. It's like, what you cooking? Oh, I got a rabbit in the backyard. I'm eating it. Blah, 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 blah. He's like making this thing, and it's the most succulent rabbit you've ever had in your life.
I've never had anybody take me up on it, but every time there's a
Carson's face.
It's
rabbit,
like, oh, you
when you
you
make
ate
it rabbit,
Thumper.
yeah.
Yay. I will never tell you the terror in my family's eyes when we showed up to a buffet when we were visiting colleges in a part of the country that we were not accustomed to. And they had a big banner that said, "We now serve rabbit." And you want to see?
That's gotta be.
Oh,
let's
the
play this game.
Connecticut culture shock.
Let's play this
We
game.
now
What
serve
state
guinea
is that?
pig.
What state was that?
All right, I'll start off and say Mississippi.
Nope.
It was not
Oh,
Mississippi
wow.
where Carson ended up.
I am
Bubba,
going-
what state was that?
I'm going Kentucky.
Nope.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay, it's my turn.
What state was that?
Alabama.
No.
Big D, your turn.
All right, back to
What
me.
state was that?
I'm gonna say Georgia.
Nope.
What state was that?
Bubba.
Oh, I get one more try?
Yeah.
Are we going to do this or are we going to go through all
It feels
50
like a
states?
lot of
We're gonna
states.
get
I'm
there.
going Alaska just because nobody said Alaska.
no.
Go to Alaska.
What do you think? Go ahead, Patrick.
Rabbit. It could have been Louisiana. Was it
It
Louisiana?
was not, unfortunately.
okay.
Oh, is it Arkansas?
No.
That's
You-
Florida. That's what it was.
it was Missouri.
Missouri.
Yeah.
Say it right, Missouri.
Okay.
Yeah, I apparently was in Missouri, Contra. So,
All right.
That
Yep.
is the most Missouri joke ever. Contra.
Wow.
Wow. I didn't
Have you
see
ever
that
had?
coming?
Have you ever had a rabbit?
no.
You really? Well, maybe you like it.
Nope. I
Carson
say I
can't
don't.
eat cow. She'd never be able to eat a bunny. There's no way.
So, is there a line between pet and food for you? Where is that line?
Does it
Horse.
swim in the ocean?
Yeah, unfortunately, I will eat things that swim in the ocean. So I guess that's where. So even though I might have little pet fishies, they grow too big, they might be delicious.
So is it eyelids for you?
I mean,
My daughter is pescatarian, and that's her thing. That she's like,
I've
if it has
never heard
eyelids, I
that.
No, I
can't
never-
live.
It has eyelids. That's pretty great.
Because like a fish doesn't have eyelids.
Oh man, yeah, but it has eyes.
oh
the
god,
worst.
Some of those fish are so cute.
oh yeah, when they serve you
Trying
the
to
whole
talk
fish,
her out eating fish. What are
Like
you
the
doing?
Italian way.
Yeah, like
the
on a plate,
full-on-
like there's
Oh
the
my
whole
gosh!
fish.
I have to have told you this story before. I was 17 years old, and I was in Germany visiting my friend Dominic. This is after he had lived with us, and I went and lived with them for like a month. And we had spent all day out climbing this mountain to go see this castle, and so we were exhausted. I remember being so excited because they said Mom was cooking fish, and I was like, "Oh yes, I love fish. Fish is great. This is fantastic." And I remember sitting at the table with his whole family, and Mom comes in the dining room holding this platter, and everybody clapped like, "Oh yeah!" And she put it down on the table, and there was fish on it, like fish,
Like an actual-
whole, with a fish with a tail and an eye and a mouth, and it was looking at me. And then they proceeded to just cut the meat off of the whole fish. I grew up eating some weird stuff in the bayou, but we still fillet our fish. I've never even thought of that. They're like, "What's the matter? Why do you?" I said, "When we eat fish, where I come from, we fillet the fish, we take the meat off, and then we batter it and we deep fry it so that it does not look or taste or smell like a fish." And they're like, "Well, what is the point?" I went, "I don't know, but it's delicious."
What is the
Okay,
point?
you know what else? A hamburger does not look like a cow. I do not want my food to look like the animal that I don't need it to, especially don't need it to be looking back at me
I
while
want
we're
my
cutting its
chicken
meat off.
in dinosaur form.
Oh, what are we doing with
Little
shit?
chicken
You know,
nuggets.
Dinosaur.
They have the dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets.
What are the? No, they're not dinosaur shaped.
They do. They have them.
Oh, I thought you meant like McDonald's, like McNuggets.
Oh no,
I
no,
just
like you
watched
can
on
legitimately buy like dino-shaped chicken nuggets.
Food That Shaped America or whatever it's called. That show on the I love. They just did on the History Channel. They just did an episode on McDonald's and Burger King and all like the fast food places and how they introduced chicken. You know, it came through the 70s. They had those little government, pyramids of food, and they realized that meat must be bad. You got to eat more chicken because the lobbyists, that whole thing is so crazy. But anyway, so they had to change their menus, and they were trying to figure out ways to introduce chicken to their menus without being KFC. And literally, the guy at McDonald's, what's his name? Ray Kroc? Is that the one?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He was crazy hardcore, and he would not, approve anything until he was happy. And he turned so many different things down. Like they considered chicken pot pie, and he's like, no. He's like, no, it has to be a finger food. And he goes through the whole thing, and that's how they invented chicken nuggets.
Yep,
But it was
the idea that because, Americans think beef is bad for them, so we'll offer them
Fried chicken.
chicken nuggets. But
Fried chicken
but
covered
brilliant
in-
marketing.
Yeah, well.
Chicken's good for you, and we offer you chicken nuggets. Super smart. Super smart.
I think five standard chicken McNugget shapes.
Are there? I thought there were only 3.
One is a boot.
I was saying you have the boot.
There's
The boot, the circle.
the bell.
Yeah, there's 3. How are you getting 5?
I don't know, Patrick. Maybe I'm just wrong. How about
Maybe
that?
I'm just reading it off the internet,
Or maybe
and I don't really
Patrick knows a
know.
lot more about chicken nuggets than we realized.
So and they did. They mentioned it on that show. I love that show. They
but
I
mentioned
know
the
there
end
was
of
a
that show.
marathon on the other day.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, that's
Did
why I
you
was
watch it?
Yes, I was right there with
was it
you.
not
with Ray
fascinating?
Kroc. Oh, I was all in.
Did you start like with season 1 with the Hershey thing and all
I don't
that?
know if I was
Oh.
up early enough, but it
Oh, so good.
was
So
the man
good.
that built America, and then the food that built America.
The
and-
cars that built America. Yeah, the frontiersmen. So I would like to send a shout out to what's his name? The guy
Adam
Jack
Richman?
from Jack from Rose and Jack, Titanic. Leonardo DiCaprio.
All right, there are
Because that's his show. He created that whole thing.
Did he? Oh.
Yeah.
there are 4.
Oh.
The
Okay.
boot, the
You have
bell.
bone, bell, ball, and boot.
Okay. Oh yeah,
why
the
would
bone
they-
is more of a square. It's similar to the boot, but it's not the same. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. 4 basic McNuggets.
And I look at them, and they don't look like any of those shapes anyway. Like, even the boot to me doesn't look like a boot.
Oh no, that's just what they call it.
Man, I'll
know,
tell you
it's
what, too. When you're a kid, and I don't think you ever grow out of it, you guys would know better than I would, but you always count just to see if you got that extra nug.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
You
ever
never
got-
do.
You
ever
never
got
get it
shorted?
at McDonald's, but I will tell you that sometimes Chick-fil-A, because the nuggets are shaped different, you order 8 or 12. Sometimes you order 12, you get 13, maybe even 14.
Oh.
I know.
Really?
Special. You feel special on those days.
It's
a good
what do you
day.
guys think is the most fan favorite chicken McNugget shape?
Boot.
By far, the boot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all love the boot. We think
I
we're
don't know
getting
why.
extra. Because you get to nibble on the boot.
Yeah, and it's also got
And
like a
it's-
little dipping.
That,
For someone who
it's
hasn't
true.
eaten a
The
McNugget
little
in
toe.
I haven't
toes,
eaten
a
a
little
chicken
toe, a little
McNugget in
dipper.
over 10 years. I know it's been at least that long for Carson.
I think
We're
I'm gonna
still
eat-
talking about it gleefully like
Since
children.
I am on the road today, I will commit to all of you to stop at McDonald's, and I will give you my favorite. I'll taste them because obviously
You think they taste different?
They have to taste
like
different
green
because
M&Ms.
they're shaped different.
I remember my buddy Dwayne and I in high school ordering each a 20-pack of McNuggets.
Yeah, man.
And eating, and you want fries or anything? Nope.
Dude, we
Just
used to
give
get
us
the
the McNuggets.
Chick-fil-A 50 nugget trays.
Oh, we did
and
that in the
knocked
studio.
that out between Big
and
D,
by the
Patrick,
way,
and myself.
50. No, one time we ordered the 100 and ate almost all of them, and then we all thought we were going to die because we all had Chick-fil-A funk. Because Chick-fil-A is really good, but unless you eat way too much of it, and then you have this kind of like.
Golly, why would we eat that? You know, at Chick-fil-A, they had to go over to the wall, the door, and flip the little thing saying currently out of
Out of McNuggets.
out of chicken.
Like, why has
100.
McDonald's never changed the shapes? And I know they're made. Okay, so this is the brilliance of it. And they went through it in that show again, too. They made the dipping sauces. Dipping sauces were never part of the plan until Ray Kroc goes, I need something to dip it in. And then they're like, okay. And they freaked out. So they try these 4 sauces, and he's like, yeah, we'll take all 4. Looking for the one. But the cool thing is he's the one who said, I want a little package that is perfectly sized for them to dip in. I mean, the guy was he was a hardcore crazy dude, but he was a genius.
Give me my Szechuan sauce.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they had Szechuan. I think
No,
it
they
was-
Now
brought it
everybody
back.
has that. Everybody
br-
has
They had to bring it back a couple years ago because of Rick and Morty. Because the cartoon did a whole episode how Rick wanted, like, it was the most, he loved it so much. And so McDonald's, it became a thing. They brought it back for like a limited time.
So what are they doing now with these celebrity menus or celebrity burgers?
BTS right now, baby.
Yeah, what is
I
that?
don't know anything about it. And
So
why
that
is
you
Bubba
had,
pretending to care about BTS?
Because
daughter.
my daughter loves BTS, and she started. Well, what it is, they to increase sales, because what's happened in this social media world is that people are shamed for not eating well, just like they're shamed for everything, and so fast food had taken a hit. And their growth slowed down, that kind of stuff. And so what they've decided to do is do these celebrity partnerships. It's kind of the way Crocs is doing all the specialty Crocs, like Post Malone and Justin Bieber and all that. So the idea is you get somebody like BTS that has this crazy fan base around the world, and you have this meal that is just specifically for them, and it's endorsed by them, and people will go to get that meal specifically. What was the rapper that had one too?
Yeah, I don't know.
No idea.
So they're
Oh, who's the one that brought back the spicy nuggets at Wendy's? That was all because of a rapper that he tweeted about it.
Like Alvin Kamara had brought back Jolly Ranchers.
No, I
Apparently
wouldn't know
that's
that
his
name,
thing.
but
But yeah, so
but
it's
yeah,
like-
but that's the thing. They have that kind of
They
influence.
get
so,
these.
yeah.
They get these influencers, these people with big, huge followings like BTS, et cetera. And I forget the rapper. And I'm gonna kick myself because it's a major person, and I'm totally blanking on it. But yeah, so what they do is they do that, and then they get people to go and try the meals, and then they have the different specialty meals, and then people then go, oh yeah, I forgot how much I love McDonald's or how much I loved
They have,
Wendy's or whatever.
I'm looking at. They have merch. They have merchandise for each one that they do. Like there's a BTS McDonald's bathrobe, a hoodie.
Oh wow!
Some sort of a bag of some sort. But the food, it's chicken nuggets that comes with medium fries and a Coke and Cajun and sweet chili sauces.
Oh,
And I think they make the sauces for each one, like whatever you know what I mean? It's not like they don't just they come up with new stuff.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going through very interesting time that I was going through posters last night because I have so many posters at my house from growing up and stuff. And I found 3 of my New Kids on the Block posters that you could only get at McDonald's. You had to go to McDonald's during their One Magic Summer Tour. And they are living. I
But see,
unrolled them.
That's the exact thing that they're doing.
And they
right
did.
now.
I mean, my poor mother was like, I want to go to McDonald's. Like, "Shh, all
Do you remember
right."
the specialty glasses they had?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Every estate sale I go to, you can get like great Muppet Caper glasses from McDonald's. Everybody. And I'll tell you the biggest that I see. This is
If you ever run
honestly
across the Star Wars ones, I would
Yeah,
like those
so-
because I lost most of mine.
so would everybody else.
Or
Those are the
broken
ones
them.
people are after. But I'll tell you what, Arby's back in the early 80s put out Christmas glasses. Every single estate sale you go to, there are no less than 4 of those. That was everybody's
Are
grandma's.
they worth anything?
No, because everybody's grandma has the Arby's glassware
Travis
from
Scott.
Christmas.
Travis Scott, by the way. is
That
who I
was-
was
yes,
trying to
you're
think
right,
of.
you're
And
right.
that blew up for McDonald's. Like doing that, the Cactus Jack thing, just absolutely blew up. And they're like, yeah, we're onto something here. So
Yeah.
yeah, those things are really smart. It was the same thing. Like I remember there were Star Trek, the Search for Spock glasses and things like that. Yeah, man, we would go just to get the whole collection.
Do you guys remember Pizza Hut and those stained glass lamps that they had over the tables?
Yeah.
Where?
At Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut. Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
And
I
they-
feel like Wendy's had something like that too. Way
Yeah, I think
back.
they
Do you guys
did
have
too.
Wendy's Super Bar?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
Wendy's
That
used to
was
have
the
bar.
The Super
best.
Bar.
I do remember like the
Yes.
salad and all that.
Salad, Italian, and Mexican, because you could get a baked potato next to a taco next to spaghetti.
Yep.
I don't know why you're going to Wendy's for spaghetti, but I did.
Yep. Yeah. I think Pizza Hut had a pizza bar.
I remember their salad bar.
They still
they had a
do in a
salad
lot of
bar, too.
places.
They had their creamy Italian dressing was
I also remember that Pizza Hut was the first place I saw a sit-down Miss Pac-Man game.
Oh
console.
yeah, remember
that was
the
a
sit down
big deal.
They're
McDonald's
always
Yeah.
sitting down.
Using-
They never had the stand up.
The Centipede was another sit down board they had.
Super
Where you
dodgeball.
could
They
play-
they used the Miss Pac-Man in a commercial recently. They had a comedian sitting
yeah.
at the Miss
That's right.
Pac-Man in a pizza commercial. I'm like, oh, that's because we all remember that.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I remember when Golden Corral was an actual steakhouse where you would order a steak at the table and they would bring it wasn't a buffet. But then they added the salad bar, and the salad bar went from just having salad, and then they added we'll put chicken wings on the salad
I
bar.
don't remember any of that.
And I was like, oh, they have chicken wings on the salad bar. So now you get your steak, and for like $5 more, you get the salad bar, and you could get some chicken wings. And then it was like, oh, we'll put, hamburgers on the salad, or whatever the next thing was. And then it just took over the whole restaurant and became a buffet. Ryan's Steakhouse was the same way. It was a steakhouse. Now it's just a buffet. Because what they learned is American people like to eat a lot of food, and we want to just go up and grab it.
Yeah.
It's very popular.
I watched there's a YouTube channel, I can't remember the name of it, that talks about the rise and fall of famous brands. And they have a whole thing I watched a whole thing on Steak and Ale and how it started and
I don't
what
remember.
happened to it.
Oh, I do
Yeah.
remember them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Quiznos is in there.
Oh, what happened to them? Remember they used to toast the bun
They
for your
still do.
sandwich?
There are some still
Yeah.
available, but let's talk about how they get so big and and they get sold and then they expand
Is
a
this
lot.
a specific documentary about?
It's a YouTube channel.
You got to send me that. That would fascinate me.
Yeah.
I watched the movie on Netflix, The Last Blockbuster.
Yeah,
Oh wow, that was fascinating.
Yeah.
I've been to the live,
Yeah.
last
But I mean,
Blockbuster.
you
the-
bend to it.
I've
bend
been to it. That's right.
But we all think, oh, Netflix killed Blockbuster, and I always thought it was Redbox that killed Blockbuster because Redbox basically
I haven't
replaced
seen the
Blockbuster with a
documentary
thing.
yet.
Yeah.
Are
Apparently,
you about to give us spoilers?
does anyone really care if I
No,
get
come on.
spoilers?
No,
Okay.
please summarize.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating.
You're
little
Lebowski. I'm
documentary.
Lebowski. Yes, yes.
Um,
You told Brand. Brand told me. Yes.
How
do I fit in?
it's kind of confusing, but Viacom bought Blockbuster because it was a cash cow. It was generating all this revenue, and they literally bought it in order to put debt under that umbrella and cancel the debt out with cash. So they loaded all this debt onto the Blockbuster brand, and then they sold it. So you had Blockbuster and Netflix both in, let's say, 2006. They both had delivery at home services because Blockbuster had launched that. They were both looking into streaming services
And
on
Blockbuster
websites.
was the name brand back
Right.
then.
Blockbuster had the addition of having stores all over the country where you could get your DVD in the mail, and then if you want to, you don't want to send it back, you can take it to the store and trade it in for another one the same day and do it. So they had the advantage of having the stores as well. And like Bubba said, the name recognition, it was Blockbuster. It was one of the biggest 20 or so brands of anything in the United States. But Blockbuster had debt, and Netflix had nothing, no debt, just capital. So Netflix was the one who expanded faster and took over. And that was it. That was the turning point. Blockbuster was in a place where they financially couldn't keep up and they couldn't be nimble, and Netflix took them down.
Did they cover anything about that Blockbuster had a chance to invest into?
Blockbuster had a chance to buy Netflix outright
And they did.
and didn't.
Well, they couldn't. They didn't have the money. They were burdened with debt, as so many
And they
people
also, but also, no, they could have figured that out because it was $50 million. And to a corporation that size, they can get a loan by snapping their fingers for $50 million.
But
take on
I
more
mean,
debt.
it's hindsight's 2020, and you
yeah.
go, yeah, of course. How would you be so stupid?
They
But at the
thought
time,
that was a
man,
stupid idea, and they
Yeah,
were like,
yeah, a lot of people
we
did.
can do this.
a lot of people, yeah. Why we could
And to
do
be
that
honest,
when we're
the
doing it
Netflix
already?
that was offered to people go, Blockbuster could have bought Netflix. You're forgetting what Netflix was. Netflix was a delivery system where you go to the website and order a DVD and it would come in the mail, and then you would mail it back,
Yep.
and they would send you another one.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't what it is now where we all go
I
to streaming
used it
service.
that way,
Streaming,
especially
yeah.
with Blu-rays, because I didn't want to go buy them.
Yeah, and video games, it was a big thing too, I think. But I
forgot
we
I
were
did that with
watching
games,
this.
too.
Yeah.
We were watching this in a hotel room at the end of the night on our vacation. My wife and I, and my daughter's on her tablet and doesn't care. And I said, you know what's crazy is we talk about how our children will never have that experience of going to the Blockbuster,
Right.
like or the video rental place. What a big deal it was. But you know what's crazy is I have 2 older brothers who are 9 and 11 years older than me. They didn't really have that experience. Not when they were kids. That didn't exist until like the late 80s. So it's this huge cultural thing that was a big part of America from like 1986 to 2006. That's it. 20
Well,
years.
that was when Stacy and I were dating. That was our thing. Is we would go to
a lot of people. Yeah.
to Blockbuster on date nights or just
On my
home
college
nights.
girlfriend, that was a huge deal.
So-
We'd get off work. We both got off work at like 9 o'clock. That we could get to Blockbuster before it closed and pick a movie and then go watch the movie.
I want Patrick to do the math here. Netflix costs on average about $12 a month if you take all the different plans. So they have 203.67 million subscribers.
It's a lot of money, man.
203.67 at $12 a month. What
Yeah.
are they making a month?
$2.5 billion.
$2.5 billion a month.
I found that channel. The channel is called Company Man.
Company Man.
Do they have anything about TCBY?
Oh,
feel like-
here's what they have. They have what happened. These are the decline of Walmart, Blockbuster.
Walmart's in
Yeah,
decline?
I'm not Walmart. Kmart. Sorry.
Kmart.
Oh.
I was
Kmart.
gonna say Walmart's huge
R.I.P.
still.
Yeah, thank you. Radio Shack.
Buddy.
Crocs. They have the rise and fall and rise again of Crocs.
Crocs is huge right now.
Same thing. The rise, fall, and rise again of Vans. Shoes.
Yeah, got my Vans on running.
Yeah, it's a ton of stuff. The fidget spinner, Beanie Babies.
I want fidget spinners to come back again. I miss those.
Remember I sent you guys this from the middle of nowhere,
So
Yes.
put it on your camera.
Virginia? Radio Shack.
Yes.
It was a real Radio Shack. I didn't know there were any Radio Shacks
Like
left.
an actual, yeah, but they're mainly cell phone stores now. And
Yeah, I
that was the
didn't go
funny
inside.
thing is Radio Shack had to shift their entire business model because Radio Shack used to sell parts for people to repair their
Nobody does that.
electronics. Nobody repairs anything anymore because we're in this disposable environment where people just the mindset is when it breaks you just go buy a new one. So Radio Shack's whole pieces parts thing that used to be their bread and butter went away. So they became basically a store that sells cell phones for different carriers. It's pretty crazy.
It's just
How
like
about-
I also thought it was cool that you saw Gary on your little
Did
trip.
see Gary. I saw emus everywhere. I'm not going down the Gary the emu.
You don't have to.
How about
I'm
this?
just saying.
How about what the decline of Montgomery Ward?
Wow.
What happened
See, and
there?
I don't remember Montgomery
Yeah.
Ward.
I do. Yeah. That was before Dillard's. Was the Dillard's in our hometown? It was a Montgomery Ward.
They have, and then they have things like why are certain things so successful? Chick-fil-A, why is it so successful?
What about Xerox? Did they go away, or do we? Because every single copy machine or printer I see, it never says Xerox on it anymore. It's always Canon or somebody else.
I don't see it on here. They do
Because they
have
were the stuff.
Spencer's.
Yeah, because remember you used to refer to it as going to Xerox something.
You still do.
I mean, I
People
don't.
say go
I
make a
don't, now I
Xerox
say
of this.
copy. I don't say Xerox anymore.
Yeah, that's. I think we all.
Everyone
Yeah,
says
I think
copy
people
now.
fell out of Xerox, but it was like Kleenex for a
How
while.
about this? What happened to Long John Silver's?
Well, that's still around,
Yeah.
isn't
I know,
it?
yeah, but
I mean,
it's not like
yeah,
it
it's not.
was.
See,
It was-
we didn't have
Well, no, I mean-
we didn't have Long John Silver's where I grew up because we literally lived on the coast, and you didn't go to
Okay.
a fast food place.
Did
for
you guys
seafood.
have a Mr. Cook?
No.
No.
No,
You don't remember that?
I don't
They
remember
were,
Mr. Cook.
There were multiple just in the
What is
little
that?
area. I grew. It was like a fast food, like a burger place. I remember Burger Time.
We had. Do y'all have Burger Chef?
No, not at Burger
we
Chef.
had a Burger Chef. We had a Burger Queen too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm assuming you guys didn't have
trademark
Friendlies.
infringy there. No, it was
Friendlies was it was supposed to be like a diner-ish kind of thing, but it was a chain, and they did amazing ice cream and then diner food, so you could get grilled cheese, patty melts, whatever. But one day, and I think they were northeast-ish, but one day suddenly half of them just shut. Because it was a place like my grandmother liked to go. Like, I'd like to go to Friendlies for dinner, and should we go to Friendlies to take her there for her ice cream? And and suddenly Friendlies was shuttered, and I was like on the news, like, what happened to our Friendlies? And then you'd go in the ones in the radius that they're all shut too. They just closed a slew of them out of nowhere.
It's a great name.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like
it was.
Friendlies.
Just think about things. One thing they showed in that Blockbuster documentary is that when it got to a certain point, once they got to 1,000 stores, whatever, and they got a huge amount of money, they started just going to people and telling them, you can become a Blockbuster franchisee, or we can build one across the street. And that's how a lot of these stores. We had an alfalfa
like the mom
video.
And pops turned into
mom and
Blockbuster
pops,
that way?
but especially a bunch of smaller chains.
Yeah.
Like where I grew up was Alfalfa Video, and then that became Blockbuster, and then a bunch of it just it was everywhere. The last Blockbuster used to be something else. It used to be Pacific Video.
When-
20 years ago.
So when I lived in Miami back in the day, did I ever tell you my Blockbuster story?
No.
I went and played golf with this guy named Don. Oh my gosh, he's dead now, but he was a radio guy. And Don invited me to go play golf with Wayne Huizenga.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's
and
how.
he became the Blockbuster CEO.
And also Dan Marino. So it was the four of us out playing golf one day, and I was a terrible golfer. I still am. But yeah, so I got to play golf. Wayne Huizenga was so cool. I'm sorry, H. Wayne Huizenga. But he was super cool. Dan Marino was not as cool as I thought he was going to be.
That's a shame.
What?
I know. He's great in the Nutrisystem commercials, but he was not
I don't
as
think he's
nice
been
like
in a
that.
Nutrisystem commercial for. Is he still in those?
I think he.
I
I
haven't
saw
seen
one like
a
in the
Nutri-
last 6 months. I swear.
We turn around to look at the TVs because they're always on.
They are always on. But also, it's like June, so nobody gives it. But man, in December, January,
it's
February,
on.
they're everywhere.
Oh man, look at this! What happened to Sears?
Oh yeah, that's a
that's
big
a
one.
shame.
Payless Shoe Source.
I feel like that's
it's
still
hard-
around, isn't it?
No.
Are they
Well,
gone?
I don't know if they're gone.
Like
but
2 or 3 years ago, they're like, we are shutting down. And so there's one down the street here. I'm not gonna lie. I went and I cleaned it out. I was like, I don't need the boxes. You just give me a big old sack. And I started throwing it because they made the most comfortable high heels ever. And I went and bought them in like 16 colors.
Don
I don't
Cox
know,
was a
man.
guy, a radio legend in Miami.
I feel like
what was his name?
Don Cox.
I just feel like we're gonna miss that stuff when it's there's gonna be a resurgence. There's gonna be a way that it swings back to that.
The decline of what happened to iHeartMedia. Oh, that's interesting.
Is that on there?
That's on there.
They changed the name. No. I also, Big D turned me on to some podcasts. It's some alien podcast, but you know us. So I was checking it out, but there was this guy who was talking about addiction to, phones. And did you catch that whole thing where he was talking about it? I was like, man, that's a really smart take.
Kind of. What part was it?
He said we just need to get away from. It was completely not alien related, but he said we need to get rid of the stigma of people saying, "Oh, you're addicted to your phone."
Oh, yeah, I do remember.
Because he was saying it's just a sensory. He's like, that's like saying you're addicted to your eyes or your ears, or whatever. He said that's just you're bringing information in, whether it's through your eyes, your ears, your phone by looking at it. He was like, just that's the way we choose to ingest that.
That doesn't
now.
mean we don't need to. That doesn't mean that it's not bad. It doesn't. It is bad.
Yeah, and it also depends on what you're looking at. Just
Yeah.
because it's your, what you're getting information. What is your information? He brought that up too, and that. But
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, though, because I'd never heard it put that way. And I was like, that's an interesting way. So, you know what? I won't give people a hard time now because
Conversely, though, there was a thread on Reddit the other day about what's something you miss that you never thought you would. And one guy said, I miss legitimately being bored. Because he goes, now there's bored, but I pick up my phone. But I'm bored while I'm scrolling. He goes, but when you were actually bored before we had this just constant barrage of ways to be entertained, he goes, I was so much more creative. He's like, I used to write. I used to read. I'd go outside. He goes, now instead of waiting 10 seconds to go, what do I want to do? I've got a phone in front of me where that 10 seconds could have made the difference
not.
that he was going to take a walk around the neighborhood.
It's really a problem. It really is. I see it with my own kid. Like, it's just totally enraptured by that,
I'm looking at her right now.
Device.
She
Oh, yeah,
has her little.
And she'll put it down if you tell her to put it
iPad in
down.
her
She'll do
hand.
something else. But if you don't make that, if you leave it as an option, that's always going to be the first option.
See, and what I love is the fact that, my son is, rapper Frank. He's really into making music. He's always making music. And because of that thing in his hand, he's able to make music anytime, anywhere. He can collab. Somebody will hit him up from, Australia and go, hey, mate, you want to be on my song? Go ahead and drop a couple bars. And he's like, yeah, sure. And he'll do freestyle a little thing down and send it back to the Australian dude. And now all of a sudden he's a collab on something. So I like that. And you're talking about
That's fine, but it's still
Again,
should-
that's a
it's-
connection with a
it's
purpose, as opposed to me sitting in my house at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning and saying like, oh, I have 15 seconds to decide if I'm going to go outside and take a walk or if I'm going to pick up Toon Blast to hit
or
a different
scroll
level.
through Instagram and just scroll.
Yeah.
And scroll. See, I don't use Instagram the way that even my wife does. I look at people I know. I look at it for about, I don't know, 2 minutes max, and then I'm done. But she just keeps scrolling because what I learned is if you keep scrolling, it keeps giving you stuff to look at. And even stuff you don't follow, they just go, maybe you'll like this. How about this? Here's a kitten. Here's a kitten.
And it's learning as you're going. So
Yes.
you spend more time. You stop on a cute puppy video.
Well, that's why like
the
everybody's
more time that
TikTok
you
is
keep-
different.
Yeah, and the more time you keep on that, it creates a new algorithm.
That's why when they say it's an addiction, you do need to realize that it is addictive. It can be a problem. If you're looking at TikTok for a few minutes a day and watching 10, 20 videos, fine. But if you're just one of these people who just gets lost in it and just,
My wife will watch it forever. She'll get on the treadmill
yeah,
and she'll
then
just
next
watch.
thing you know, 4
and they
hours have
just
gone by.
Yeah.
Okay, but she's also on the treadmill.
Yeah, true.
So to be fair, it's not mindless. It's entertainment for her. I mean, I get on the treadmill and watch Netflix.
and that's
I'm
the
not
thing.
saying that's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but at least it's in conjunction.
I was going to say, if I were to exercise, I would have to have a distraction to keep me
Do
from
you ever
remembering.
return your key fob to the gym?
No, he texted me. He texted me. He said, hey, any chance I'll get that key fob back today? I went, how much is it to replace if I lost it? And he said $10. I think I'm.
And they're charging you $10 a month?
Yeah. So I think I'm going to just call it. Well, no, he didn't charge me last time.
By
He
the
took
way, the gym, like you could throw the key fob and you
Dude, I
might
remember-
hit the gym.
I remember when Bubba was like, "What the heck? Why?" He was so mad that they were charging.
Well,
What's
no,
this $10 for?
Because I thought they were
canceled
doing.
this.
I thought they were doing what they did to Carson, and they charged her
The wrong person.
because there's somebody else with a name very similar. So they just keep charging that person's stuff to Carson's account. That's what I thought they did to me. I was like, I didn't spend $10 there.
And he goes, "Oh, just drop it by." Bubba's like, "Okay, I'll do that."
Oops.
I mean, seriously. Go outside and just take the key fob and throw it in that direction, and you might hit the
Yeah,
jets.
with
How
his
close
arm,
it
he
is.
could do it.
You're gonna drive right by it.
Wait a second. Is it the one right here that we passed by?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Back.
So so when you leave, you go down the street and you can go left or right.
Well,
You turn left and it's like
It's
one,
there.
When you say
two,
down the street,
you're
he
there.
means down halfway down the block.
Like I mean,
Okay, and when
I
you
can
say-
be,
Literally driving.
Patrick, get in your car, call us, and see how fast you can get there.
Dude, I walk there. I walk to the gym because it's so embarrassing to think I should drive there when it's 30 feet away. That I can honestly, I mean,
In my
I can throw a ball
defense-
and hit it.
In my defense, I don't know what I did with my little key fob. I really
Okay,
don't.
well, if you really lost it, that's fine.
I don't know what I did with it. And it's not in my car.
Bubba,
So.
though, couldn't even, like, he couldn't get up the
didn't lose it.
he couldn't get up the guts to go cancel face to face.
Oh my gosh!
He's like, I'm gonna
How
email
many
them.
months did you do? We got to calculate that. How many months did you pay for the gym but never actually go?
What was the last time you and I were there? Because we were
Before
there.
the pandemic.
Oh
no,
my
it
gosh!
was in the beginning of
It
the
was
pandemic.
like maybe that third week in March because they
So-
they shut down around St. Patrick's
So
Day.
can we call that 15 months?
We're gonna say it was March of 2020.
Okay, 15. Okay, 14 months times how much?
It's
how much you
40
spend on
bucks.
the gym?
It's $40.
Oh, that's
yeah, it's a pricey gym.
That's $600, man.
They should
$600.
They should give me money for the key fob. I shouldn't have to pay them. I should go, dude, I didn't go to your gym for $600 worth. Just take it off.
It was your choice. Made a choice.
All right, Butter. I don't know what you can add to that, but
I'll just end it on a sad
play
note.
the song and think about that $600. This was the podcast. $600 is gone away. Listen to the regular show
Sad banana.
on the radio every day.
Every day.
It was the podcast.